Hello.
Hello, Dr. Hora.
Hello, Jan.
Can you hear us?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
We are here together with this big group. Maybe they can greet you all together.
Hello, everybody.
All right, Bucky is ready for the first question.
All right, Betty.
Dr. Hora, recently I've been becoming aware of a tendency to judge everything that comes into my experience. And I would like some help understanding. Um, but what I realized, like, if something comes into my experience, for example, even say I was reading the newspaper and I read an article, in my consciousness, I'll either approve of it or I'll disapprove of it.
Yeah.
Or if I see somebody doing something, or if somebody tells me a story about something, I always find myself thinking, well, that was a good thing to do, or I don't think I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how to live without to live in a total way as just having events or thoughts go through my consciousness without approving of them or disapproving of them.
Well, you could get yourself elected for a judgeship. Judgeship.
I don't think that's the solution.
Here comes the judge.
I already recognize this as the death. Now I need help getting out of it. What goes the death, Dr. Orr?
Well, you just remember that if you are judging, criticizing, condemning, and blaming, you are hurting yourself and you are inviting adversary reaction from people without them being aware of the connection. But you know that our experiences are determined by the thoughts which we entertain in consciousness. So it's not advisable. To be a judge is not such a good job.
It's as before, it's not that disapproving type thoughts. I realize that everything that comes by, I either approve of it or disapprove. If not, I'm not always being critical.
Yes. Well, of course, sometimes I forgot to tell you that it is perfectly all right to judge conditions and values and ideas and circumstances. There we judge these things, and it is right for us to evaluate them and approve that which is valid and disapprove that which is invalid. But we have no right to judge people. God has not given us the right to judge people, only values.
Oh, I see. Like, for example, if I saw somebody mistreating a child,
Yeah.
I find myself thinking, oh, that's bad. Or I wasn't so much judging them, but I found myself disapproving of the act of mistreating a child. And that's what I was wondering how I would be able to get away from.
No, it's perfectly valid to say this is not right, but you don't condemn the individual because he is being influenced by invalid ideas. And he is a victim of ignorance. If we wouldn't judge conditions and actions and values themselves in the world, or we would become very naive. We are not naive, we are just innocent. It's perfectly all right to judge values.
So actually, we aren't seeking to come to a point where we're observing with no judgment. Then we're just seeking to judge only values and not criticize or condemn people.
Well, if you would be observing everything without evaluating the validity of it, or you would become very naive, and you could be at the mercy of any kind of idea. You have to know what's right and what's wrong, what is valid and what is invalid, what is divine, what is spiritual, what is material. You have to know these things and constantly be aware of your own interest and evaluate your own motive. This is perfectly all right. But we do not condemn people, because then we just create unpleasant experiences for ourselves. And if you refrain from judging people, you will find the world a much friendlier place to live in.
If someone in your experience behaves in a manner which you see as not valid, if you just think, I disagree with what they're doing, that's not valid, that doesn't work well, is that not judging then?
Well, first of all, it is best never to agree nor disagree, but just see that this action or this motivation is not existentially valid, and we just take notice of it. If they don't ask us to tell them, that we don't volunteer it. We are not here to instruct people or to change people or educate them involuntarily. We say that unsolicited solicitude is trespassing.
Yeah.
So you just keep it to yourself until you are sincerely solicited to clarify a situation or an action or a motive or a behavior. Don't volunteer to enlighten people. They don't like to be involuntarily enlightened. No, that's
Dr. Hora, I was listening to a tape from a while back in one of your classes when a student excused you as having cold symptoms.
what kind of tip. Yeah.
And you made that, it seemed that you made a statement when like if a therapist has a patient in their office and in their thinking they're approving or disapproving it, stop the patient and understanding what the therapist wanted to say. But are you telling me now it's okay to disapprove or approve of something?
Of what, for instance?
Maybe the way somebody runs a company, for example.
Yes.
You see the way they run the company.
Yes.
And you disapprove of it. Are you judging them?
Well, again, approving and disapproving is it is sort of meddling into a situation. You can see whether something is valid and what something is invalid, and you keep it to yourself until you are sincerely solicited for clarification of to share what you see. So agreeing and disagreeing, approving and disapproving is sort of a meddling attitude.
I'm not, in a position where I'm even considering talking to anybody. It's that, situations where, for example, the company you work for, maybe you disagree with the way they're running things, but I'm not questioning whether I'm going to go tell them or not. I'm just fixing to get to a frame of mind where I'm not judging and then saying if that's the thing.
Yeah. You see, if we disagree with someone, we are being personal and implying that we know better than they do something. If we agree with someone, then we are applying that we are approving or condescending. So these things, it's better to refrain from agreeing and disagreeing or approving and disapproving. What is needed is seeing. You can see what is valid, you can be aware of it, and what is not valid, and you keep it to yourself until you are sincerely solicited.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Dr. Hora?
Yeah.
Marilyn?
Marilyn, yes.
Great. I would appreciate some more clarification what you spoke to me about the idea of outgrowing our family.
Yes. Yes.
I could see that this is a very healthy thing with your parents to outgrow the parents and grow spiritually.
Yes.
But it occurred to me that maybe it's also healthy thing to spend short loving hours with those to live with, instead of long visits. In a sense, it's just we also have to outgrow those who live with. In the same sense, we offered.
Well, of course, we have to grow as far as possible. All our lives, we have to outgrow the whole world and leave the world behind so that our consciousness is completely spiritualized. We are not attached to anything in this world. A beneficial presence is not attached, it's not clinging to anything in the past or in the present or in the future, because he lives in the timeless now of divine reality. And nevertheless is a blessing to all who are near him and around him, and further away too. But the Buddhists speak of non-attachment, and that is a marvelous freedom. You are present and you are beneficial, but you are uninvolved. You know, there are 4 ways that people can participate in society. You can be involved positively, where you're clinging in a loving way to people. You can be involved negatively when you are entangled in a hostile way with people. Then you can be an isolate. You can isolate yourself and become a loner because you cannot cope with the world, either positively nor negatively. That's what we call a loner or a schizoid individual. But metapsychiatry recognizes another mode of being in the world, which we call solitariness.
What is it that this is?
Solitariness. A solitary individual is a beneficial presence in the world, and he is neither involved nor uninvolved, but he is neither moving towards people or against people or away from people. He is standing as an individual manifestation of God's presence in the world. A very good example of this kind of solitariness is Daniel. If you read the book of Daniel, you will see that he was a presence at the royal court and and he was untouchable by all the intrigue and animality around him. He was not involved with them, that neither did he hide from them, but he stood up uprightly and was a beneficial presence. When everything around him was falling apart, he stood up untouched, and that gave us a very good example of such a solitary individual who is a beneficial presence in the world. So there are four types: people who move towards others, people who move against others, people who move away from others, and then there are the solitary who are with God. They live in the presence of God, and they are models of spiritual excellence. So have your pick, Marilyn.
Have my that's really interesting. I think I still had the idea that the solitary or solitariness means being alone, that I think needs to be alone a lot, or maybe I'd rather
Oh,
wait.
when you are alone, you are lonely.
Okay?
You are lonely. But if you are solitary, you never feel lonely. You are always with God and in God and in the presence of God and in the service of God. You are here for God. You are not using people to make yourself feel good or bad for that matter. Our concept of perfection and of mental health and social usefulness is expressed in the concept of solitariness.
That's possible, Doctor. Could you just clarify one more thing?
Yeah.
How can we be? You said before that a joyless state, if we're in a joyless state, you're hypnotized.
Yeah.
How can we guard against, I don't know, the emotional control that we often spoke of? Has to do, well, I think it has to do, it has to be guard against emotional control and damage situation.
Emotional control of our own emotions or the emotions of others, or what?
Other controlling that we're becoming hypnotized.
Yeah, well, they can only control us if we want something from them, Marilyn. A solitary individual is free and unaffected. He cannot be manipulated or influenced because he is totally here for God. So he is immune to the various machinations of personal mind around him. And yet he is not withdrawn, he is present, available for the good.
But wanting to be liked definitely gets in the way of
You can say that again. That's one of the greatest handicaps that people have, wanting to be liked.
That was very helpful, Dr. Boyd. Thank you.
You're welcome, madam.
Dr. Hora?
Yes,
This is Alona.
Ilona, yeah.
I have a situation that I guess is similar to Betty, in that I find myself thinking I need to make judgments or assessments about things.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have noticed recently that's been troublesome to me is that we have, my husband and I have a friend whose younger brother thought it would be healthier for him to move out of his stovetop, so the younger brother tends to move with the thought. And upon moving in, I kind of laid down some things that we like to see happen in our house regarding uh, taking care of it and keeping it clean. And when things need to be done, noticing that and taking care of it and being orderly.
Yeah, you told him what should be.
Well, I told him how my husband and I like to live.
Yeah.
So
All right.
to stay with us, and we hope that they would abide by the same.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable.
Um, Ken agreed to these things when he moved in.
Yeah.
There's never been as follows. And so I guess the problem I'm having is that he works part time, having to get up like at 3 o'clock in the morning, go to work, and come home at 9 in the morning. And after that, he'll sit and isolate himself in the things that he reads, and then he'll go to sleep, and then he'll get up and read some more. But he doesn't seem to see what needs to be done around the house or take initiative. And whenever I have a different time said to him, well, Ken, do you think it'd be a good idea if you went ahead and took care of stuff? And so, as we agreed, he says, yeah, okay, but then he still won't do it for a couple of days. I.e., leaving the dishes
Yes.
around and
Yes.
around.
Yes.
And I'm feeling frustrated because I really like the boy. He's a misguided individual, certainly, in some respects, that I guess we all are, but he's a likable person, and I don't want to be tied up in judging him, but yet I find myself very frustrated and how to speak with him, or do I speak with him just the once and that needs to be it, and if he doesn't take care of his share of the responsibilities, that I just go ahead and take care of it, and then, the little interpersonal things that go on. And I'm just wondering if you have any insight as to the meaning of my trouble with this, or a healthy way of seeing it so that it might be settled.
Yes. Well, you are asking a question which in metapsychiatry we would avoid answering, because essentially it's an operational question. How should I handle this love?
But I guess sometimes I think it's him that way.
You see? How is it that I thought of that?
I could never guess.
Well, of course, first you have to be able not to see him as a love.
I think I see him more as, well, just very unmotivated to do anything. And he refers to himself as lazy.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't have motivation. I kind of see him as depressed, really.
Yeah.
But and I see that as part of this thing that he immobilized, really, sometimes.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, there are certain things that he agreed to.
Yeah. So you stop thinking about how to handle him
Okay.
and about what's wrong with him and what should I do with him, and ask yourself, what is the meaning of this particular mode of being in the world?
Mine or his?
Both. Well, you seem to be a should thinker to some extent, and he seems to lack any motivation and any values besides feeling comfortable, feeling a little better. Or he said he's unmotivated.
Yes, I think so.
All right. Now, what is it that motivates us to participate in a situation as a beneficial presence?
Oh?
Certainly, the first thing is love. Second, a sense of being appreciated. Third, having some models of spiritual excellence around us to emulate. So the way to help the situation is to correct your own thinking and set an example and try to see him in a more positive, spiritually loving light. And remind yourself that there is no such thing as laziness. If people behave as if they were lazy, they manifest a certain problem. And problems have meaning which can be healed. So you work out this problem in your own consciousness and heal it rather than try to find out how to manage him or make him conform to the standards of your ground rules of the house, because that's very difficult. That's control, personal control, and nobody likes to be controlled.
Thank you, Dr. Hora.
You're welcome, Ilona.
Dr. Hora, this is Fern.
Fern, yes.
I'd like to go back to the issue that Marilyn brought up, where you talked about the 4 ways of being in the world.
In society.
In society.
Yeah.
Participating in society.
Yes, right.
And I noticed a difficulty in one of the areas in my own life. It usually comes up around eating. When we're going to eat dinner, or any meal, I find myself very influenced by the other people around me, either in the sense that I will prepare or participate in providing a meal for them and then get caught up in eating what they want to eat, which is usually too much. Besides, I'm having trouble keeping my weight down, and I can see that this issue has been with me over the years as being influenced, or perhaps having a desire to be very social in the eating area. Now, I've noticed when you talked about the 4 ways of participating that anytime my interest is in abiding with God or becoming solitary, I experience tremendous liberation from any involvement with eating or not eating, that I tend to move away from people in a positive way, and that I'm not involved with this excitement around food, and I lose weight or my weight stabilizes. I feel more intelligent about this area of my life. Can you please see what the meaning of this influence is?
Well, you probably want to be loved by your family, which is a very strange thing. You see, from childhood on, we eat for approval.
Oh, the 7th day. Do I remember that? I was a very, very poor eater as a child, and this was a big issue with my parents.
Yeah.
I would sit there by myself having to express how much I ate.
Yeah, sometimes you hear parents cajoling their children with spinach and saying, "Eat this for me."
Yes.
Right. The inanities on unenlightened life are infinite.
What?
So you just learn to eat for nourishment and not for popularity.
Well, it just occurred to me that there was some interpersonal thought around eating.
Yes.
And that if I could see, I would usually struggle with, am I hungry, am I not hungry? Kind of behavioral ideas about dieting and not dieting. And it occurs to me that the meaning seems to be interpersonal. And if I could see that
it had nothing to do with food, but it had some desire for interaction or personal gratification that I could be very appealing.
Oh, right, that's right. Yes. Do me a favor, finish your plate. You know the story about the Zen master who was asked, what is the difference between an enlightened man and you?
Yeah, tell it again.
The Zen master said, oh, the difference is tremendous. When I am hungry, I eat. And when I am tired, I rest.
That's it.
That's it. Do you understand it?
I think if I understood it, I will be healed.
Okay, so go to it and meditate on it as a koan. In the light of what was said before, it will be easy for you to understand it.
Yeah.
Zen masters are solitary people.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Fern.
Good afternoon, Dr. Hora. Say,
Yes, Faith.
my question is, as I came here today, the needs their feelings, I'm depending on you. I started scuba diving about a year ago. One of the reasons I took off was that I wanted solitude. As you when I go down in the water and have it real nice and quiet.
You had to go that far for a little song.
Well, some of us do. I think we do anyway. And one of the things kind of, I guess, plagued me, or however one to put it, is that I seem to hear very well, or noise is bothering me a lot. And in the process of scuba diving, I had trouble visualizing my ear. And haven't really been very successful, let's say, in the scuba diving process.
What do you mean by equalizing your ear?
As you spin, you have to like pop your ears, and the same feeling as when you're going up in the mountains, the ear pops.
Yes.
You have to do the same thing as you.
By blowing in your nose or what?
You hold your nose and breathe hard.
Yes.
It will pop.
Yes.
Right. Well, I don't do that very well, or my ears don't do its thing well.
Yes.
And I was just hearing the discussions about solitudes and kind of questioning. I guess I don't know how to quite put it into its questions. I certainly would like to be more comfortable in my scuba diving process.
Yes. Faye, we didn't speak about solitude.
Oh, we thought about solitude.
Right, there's a difference. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. A solitary man is seldom in solitude. Only if he is meditating. And he doesn't avoid people. So the issue is solitariness. Now, what exactly is your question, Faye? How to blow your ears out or what?
That's probably it more than anything.
Well, I'm a specialist in blowing people's brains out.
Well, I question because maybe that's what needs to be done themselves. It's a problem, and I was just wondering. I guess wondering. It was the meaning of my ear that I was buzzing, but there of this that problem. What am I up against?
Well, it is not clear to me, Faye, what the problem is. And perhaps your motivation for scuba diving is not quite kosher.
Could be.
What?
Well, that was part of the thing with thought being
Seeking solitude.
right.
That's not what. That's not the right motivation for scuba diving.
No, it isn't.
No. If you would go looking for pearls, that would be more interesting.
And that scares damn neighbors.
Do you enjoy scuba diving? Or is just an escape?
I enjoy the water, and this problems that I've gone through scuba diving has made it, let's say, a process for me of a lot of problems and from it. I think I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, try to discover your true motive in doing it. You see, when the wrong man does the right scuba diving, then the right scuba diving don't work the right way. Something like that.
Oh, okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Buddha. Buddha Torah, this is your Buddha.
Yes, Robert.
We feel that everything is His or God. I have a question concerning insects.
Yes.
I have a son who gets very annoyed if there's fly in the house. And invariably in the summer there is. And 2 weeks ago we were invaded by roaches. And I'd like to understand the meaning of that. I spent a lot of time cleaning out the house, spraying, checking out every closet, and that kind of thing. It's very time consuming, and I think they're gone. But I would like to know the meaning of invasion of insects and the healthy way of seeing insects in our life.
Well, you're asking two questions.
Yes.
You're asking what is the meaning of your son's idiosyncrasy about flies.
Yes.
And then you're asking about the roaches.
Right.
Now, I can only talk about your problems and not about your son's problems.
Well, could you see that the invasion of these roaches, which they're now gone, and all the shelves are all cleaned and everything's been checked. Constantly, I think they're gone. Does that have a meaning in my life?
Well, if everything has a meaning, Roberta,
Yes.
and from a metapsychiatric standpoint, a meaning may be that you are allowing certain impure thoughts to invade your consciousness.
How would I know which
But
one?
from a so-called practical standpoint, somebody would say you're a lousy housekeeper.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Leaving food crumbs around.
Oh, the kids will all go eat a lot of food crumbs around.
Okay, but essentially, that doesn't really work. By cleaning the house, that's just a temporary measure. What we have to maintain is the purity of consciousness all the time. Do not allow impure thoughts to invade your consciousness under any circumstance.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Dr. Hora, could you clarify purity of consciousness a little further?
Purity of consciousness is that's the one which is constantly aware and interested and focused on spiritual values. You're seeking beauty, harmony, love, intelligence, joy, freedom, wholesomeness in the world, generosity, such things. You don't get yourself involved with jealousy, envy, rivalry, malice, competition, ambition, comparing oneself, materialism, greed, and vengefulness, resentfulness, hatred, etc. You want more?
About purity.
Yes, yes. That's
The spiritual value
right.
would be kind of the water of life that cleanses the country.
Exactly. Right. And where a man's treasure lies, that will determine the quality of his consciousness.
Dr. Hora, this is Linda.
Yes, Linda.
I have a question about what you told Ilona about the problem.
Yeah, what did I tell her?
As the slide that I wanted to ask about is that you're talking about what motivates us intelligently. First, whether I get this right, love and its sense of being appreciated and having a model to emulate.
Yes,
What I wanted to ask about is the part of a sense as being appreciated.
yes,
I understand that we need to appreciate spiritual values as they're manifested in our lives and as we see them around us.
yes.
But is it valid for us to expect that others appreciate us?
Well, we cannot demand it, but it's perfectly all right to seek to be appreciated. It's not the same as being liked. The beneficial presence is appreciated. People are grateful to God that we exist. That's appreciation. The word appreciation means to be aware of the value of something. Liking somebody is an entirely subjective emotion, and it comes about if somebody makes us feel good, we like them. Right? A certain food makes us feel good, we like that food, etc. So that is a very low level kind of way of looking at things. But appreciation is perfectly legitimate and it's important because that gives us a healthy sense of self-esteem if we are appreciated. If people are grateful to God for our existence, that gives us the right kind of self-esteem.
I see. I think I understand that.
Okay,
Thank you.
fine.
Hello, Dr. Hora. This is Tammy.
Yes, Tammy.
Our introduction today was regarding receptivity through thanksgiving or gratefulness.
Yes.
And I would like some clarification on gratefulness versus bragging. Seems to be somewhat unclear whether it be verbal or being in one's thoughts.
Well, of course, gratefulness and bragging is mutually exclusive. If you are truly grateful, it is impossible to brag. Because bragging is self-confirmatory and gratitude is God-confirmatory.
Could you give me an example? Oh, John wants me to just an example. Well, just in thought last night, I caught myself observing the sunset and I was appreciating my husband and all of the things that seemed to be blessings in my life.
Yeah.
Crossed my mind that perhaps I was bragging to myself about all of these things that are seem to be in my life.
Well, there is a distinct danger of deceiving oneself. It is very important to know that true gratitude is the acknowledgement of the goodness of God. So if you are just happy that things are going well in your life and you leave God out of your thought, chances are you are only congratulating yourself. What a smart girl you are, that everything is so fine. And that would be bragging to oneself. But if you understand that you are really acknowledging that everything good in your life is a gift of God, that's gratitude. And that is the only protection against the altogether frequent tendency to brag. And bragging is very dangerous.
I felt that. Thank you very much, Dr. Hora.
You're welcome, Tammy.
Hello, Dr. Hora. This is Tim.
Yes, Tim.
I wanted to clarify more for my own understanding. Initially, Betty asked the question about going beyond judgment, and you said it's okay to judge values, but not judge people.
Yes.
And then later, I was pondering that, and then you mentioned the idea liking is personal, and that again, I guess judging and liking something, and then valuing is more kindly in the sense of just appreciating value.
Yes.
I wanted to understand this passion, because I know there's a great deal of talk about cultivating this passion in terms of enlightenment.
This passion.
Uh-huh.
Cultivating this passion.
The idea of not being swayed was, well, you mentioned not being able to be manipulated or seduced or provoked or...
Well, you cannot cultivate. If you cultivate this passion, you will wind up to be a deadhead.
A deadhead?
Yes.
Well, that's not a spiritual quality, though. That's understanding.
It's hardly a spiritual quality.
Okay, that's good to know. What is the deadhead? Cultivating this passion is becoming a deadhead. Would you clarify that, Dr. Hora?
Yes. Then you are unresponsive.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Hora,
Yes.
this is Fern again.
Yes, Bern.
Tammy was talking about being grateful or bragging.
Yes.
And our presentation was on gratitude and humility. And lately, I have a tremendous amount of joy in working in the nuances and putting together the library. And then also, I've been able to do some wallpapering. And I say to myself, when someone will be very appreciative, and I am too, they'll say, Judith is really working out nice. And I'll find my thought is, and I love doing it. I love wallpapering. I love putting the wallpaper together. And right after I say, I love it,
Yes.
something goes a little haywire in my mode of being. I find that I get off as soon as I say yes, and I love it.
Yes.
And I'm trying to see more clearly, what am I really saying when I say, I love doing this?
Yes. You're saying.
Right after that, I get a little compulsive and want to get everything done. It's like it calms me into a different mode of being than I was a moment
Yes.
where
Yes.
it was effortless.
What you are saying, Fern, that it makes you feel good to do this.
And what troublesome? What
Yes.
is the,
If
what
you're
is-
deriving personal ego gratification from wallpapering.
he said, what am I really saying when I say I love it?
That reminds me of one of a lady who was a student of metapsychiatry, and recently she said to her daughter, "Isn't it wonderful how God is expressing His creativity through you?" And the daughter says, "Come off it, mother. It's me. It's me." Yeah, the danger is that we may in subtle way fall into self-gratification or a sense of personal achievement or taking secret pride in when we do a good job and give ourselves credit for it. And then, of course, invariably, we make a mistake.
Well, how could I be more receptive to gratitude rather than the personal pride idea?
Practice, Fern, practice.
Is that all? Practice what? That's the answer.
Practice gratitude.
How does one practice gratitude? I'm honestly asking, not a how-to question, how to do it question, but how is it possible to be more aware so that we can shift from these self-affirmatory thoughts to gratitude? Because sometimes, like you said before, you can deceive yourself in thinking, I'm appreciating God's good, or I am being grateful, and yet secretly you're harboring personal pride.
Yes. Well, have you ever heard of radical sincerity?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that requires practice and self-confrontation and increased awareness of our thoughts and motives.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Fur.
You're welcome, sir.
Dr. Hora,
Yes, yeah.
so that is the introduction today, and it was on gratitude,
Yes,
increasing one's sensitivity to gratitude.
yes,
And you mentioned the fact that you heard about by somebody, the chaplain in the army, who say thanks for everything, even in the things untoward to us. But what further just brought up raises the question of practicing gratitude.
yes.
It is not so easy to do that. Is it something, if you say thanks for everything, that can easily become kind of a religious ritual?
Yes, and you may wind up thanking for having broken a leg.
Yes, that's what this particular method is.
So you would be thanking the devil.
Right. But the fall first answerings gave with thanksgiving.
Yes,
There's quote this way.
yes.
Is there a mental state or is it even a method by which we can cultivate a grateful state of mind?
Yeah, well, we have to understand that whatever is of God is good. But not everything that seems to be good is of God. Because many good things come to us from the world, which is not of God, which is good and bad. So we have to distinguish and discern the difference between God's good. You know, the first principle speaks of God's good,
Yeah.
not the good of the world or the personal good. So we learn to differentiate between the good of God and everything else that seems to be good but isn't good because it's good and bad. And the good and bad, we are alert to dismiss it as unreal. And only the good of God is real and deserves our gratitude.
So it would be good to be in a continuous state of acknowledging this good of God.
Right. And don't acknowledge the good of the world, because that will suck you into longing for the good of the world.
Self-congratulations.
Right, right. So if you do a good job of wallpapering, like Fern,
Yeah.
then you have to know that God is doing it, and God is making it possible